Living off borrowed time, the clock tick faster. That'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Dick Dastardly and Muttley with sick laughter. A gunfight and they come to cut the mix master. ICE Cole, nice to be old. Y2G Steve twice to threefold. He sold scrolls, lo and behold. Know who's the illest ever, like the greatest story told.
Yes, welcome back to Grande Loq, the Grandiloquent Hip Hop Show. We decided to forego our typical opening theme and go with a little MF Doom. That's really what the whole show is going to be about tonight, and we'll get into that. We here at Grande Loq are certainly wishing you all a very happy New Year. This is our first show of 2021. Just a real quick rundown: we're three lovers of hip hop, creators of hip hop, music fans, educated cats, and we're here to talk hip hop straight to the old heads and people who love great music. My name's Ian Taronji. I'm one of your three co-hosts. My esteemed co-host, Tia Abner. Tia, yes. Happy New Year. How are you?
Happy New Year. I'm hanging in there. 2021 has been a de-evolution of sorts, but I'm letting Darwin do its thing, I guess.
Always trust the science. And my other co-host, the grandiloquent one himself, Artemis Thompson. Artemis, how are you?
Chilling, man. Trying to kick off the New Year right, you know what I'm saying? Ate my collard greens and my black eyed peas, for prosperity and all that, Try to take it one step at a time, man. So happy New Year to everybody.
Yes, thank you. We usually try to do black eyed peas on New Year's Day. My sister-in-law usually makes it, but we weren't with her this year, so my wife just made some split pea lentils, and we rocked it that way, so it was all good. If you make it through to the end of our show and you like it, we would be honored if you would subscribe, rate, review, share, tell people about us. The more people we get watching and listening, the more we get to keep doing this. So anyway, tonight we have a very special episode. We're going to discuss the life, legacy, the music of the late, great MF Doom. We learned on New Year's Eve that he had passed on October 31st of 2020 at the age of 49. This is just a huge loss for the hip hop community, for the music community writ large. It certainly hit me like a punch in the gut. As much loss as we've suffered and trauma that we suffered in 2020, I was like, oh, okay, the 31st, here we are. Whew, we made it. And then this I found out, what was it? It was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon that we found out that he passed on New Year's Eve. Just a real punch to the gut. So we mourn his loss and we pray for his family and his friends. We are planning tonight to celebrate his genius. We're doing away with our typical format of events, new album review, classic album review, and instead each of us has picked 3 Doom tracks that we want to explore in depth. Some of these songs are off MF Doom albums, some are features on other artist albums. So before we start getting into the songs, I just want us all to kind of say a few words about the man's music, his legacy, impact he's had on us. I know you two have been in the hip hop game for a couple of minutes now, and you can't do independent hip hop or really any kind of hip hop and not have an appreciation for this man and not have had a major influence. Tia, why don't you start us off and just kind of give us your thoughts on the man's legacy?
Sure. Well, I feel like there's so much to say about MF Doom. It's hard to. It's one of those types of iconic type of artists that are just sort of transcends genre, transcends culture. Just a writer's writer, your favorite rapper's rapper. Amazing producer, thinker. The intricacies around the sort of subterfuge of anonymized identity and mask wearing and just all that would become. Obviously the incorporation of comics and of culture from all different types of things. I mean, this is a person that could drop a T.S. Eliot metaphor, and at the same time, sort of these really niche sort of interests like snacks and food, and turn them into sort of like existential kind of a things. I yeah, I'm really saddened to hear this. MF Doom. I have a personal sort of quick story, just the fact that my first song ever recorded, that I kind of struggled a little bit on. But anyway, the first song ever recorded was on a compilation called the Alpha Beats compilation, which was a small label that was owned by Shaman Work, which eventually was the label that MF Doom was signed to for a small period of time, released some of his work. And anyway, that label put out this compilation. And on that compilation is MF Doom, alongside one of the creators of the label, Divine Mind. They had sort of a crew of producers, and they all created this track for MF Doom. So it was my first, I don't know, 16 or so, creating this song that would appear on that compilation, and which for me was really special. So 99, I met my first, I guess boyfriend. And at the time, right, Operation Doomsday had just come out, and we wind up, meeting and hanging out. But that was constantly Red and Gold was playing in his car all the time. And he had the tape where his car actually came with the, CD player to put the tape in with the, the cord, the extension, just to play the cassette. And so for me, I think about, like, it took me a while to even know that, MF Doom was, prefacing what somebody else will talk about, but KMD was in KMD. And so anyway, I feel like a person who set the stage for enigmatic type artistry, but also really, being a quirky, awkward, especially young Black kid in hip hop. This was really a trope that sometimes this was not the cool thing. And, Doom brought artistic merit to being the quirky, awkward Black kid. So, yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Very well said. Very well said. Artemis, what are your thoughts on I guess Doom's legacy, what he means to you as an MC and a producer, and how he's influenced you?
Word. Before I do that, I want to say shout out to Shaman Work, because I do remember that. I was trying to get on that label, actually. That was crazy. They were dope. Yeah, Chris Craft, right? Yeah, Chris.
Yes.
You remember, man, Chris. Shout out to Chris. We talked a couple of times. He was a good dude, man. Yeah, he brought back a memory with that. Another one, actually. But yeah, with Doom, man, let me say this. Like, it's crazy. Like, I didn't know of Doom per se. I remembered KMD, but I didn't put the pieces together. Like, the whole time, because I didn't have the album Mr. Hood at first. I wound up with that later. So this is like kind of a two-parter story of how I got more familiar with Doom. So shouts to my man Harry Hotter, very dope DJ who I do music with. I was over at his old house one time back. I was like one of the first few years I was in DC, and we would always talk music all the time or whatever, right? He breaks out this record. He's like, "Yo, man, you gotta check out this MF Doom record." Da da. He's rapping over this Scooby Doo sample. Shit's dope or whatever. I'm like, listen to him. I was like, "Yo, this is crazy." Okay, and then as time goes on, and Harry would always do this. He would school me on a lot of different hip hop shit that I didn't really know, because being down south, we only got so much to know so much. So he was like, put me on game about KMD and all. I was like, really, KMD? What's this? So as time went on, I was looking forward to the Black Bastards album that was like originally shelved because of the cover, I think, right? I can't remember. So I waited. I wound up with the Black Bastards album somehow when it came out on Metal Fingers originally. It wasn't Subverse. It was originally Metal Fingers. Yep. So there's that. So my homeboy schools me on this, right? Now, the second part of the story is this. There was a homeboy that my friends knew on Howard's campus that had a studio and made beats or whatever. And like I went over there like 2 or 3 times. Within those 2 or 3 times, I did a song with one of my homies. And one of the last times I was there, this dude had a DAT machine, and he plays me shit from Doom that I'd never heard. I haven't heard this ever again. And the dude that had these recordings, he was from, I want to say he was from Vegas. And Harry reminded me, when I told the story on Facebook, he reminded me of who the cat was, because he knew him. It was like, oh yeah, that was my man E. Mason. He had a beat on that on the Doomsday record. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I recorded in the same place where Doom was at. Like, what? I was like, that bugged me out. I used to think I imagined that because it was like so unreal, and because like I listened to Black Bastards a lot, and I got into the Doomsday album pretty well. And he just like the influence grew on me and what he was doing. It was hard to keep up with everything too, like the Victor Vaughn's over here. You had Mad Villain. You had King
Ghidorah. Yeah.
All that. Like it. I just like the mystery behind what he was doing rhyme wise, and I feel like a lot of us artists learn from him, and I feel like a lot of fans just gravitated to that whole mystery of what he was doing. And then you're using Sade samples, and everybody, and you're making beats, you're worried about sample clearance. He's like, man, I'm just gonna take this Sade sample and flip it. You know, I'm just gonna take it and flip. Like we're like, yo, this record's still around? What? Why is it still around? Isn't Sade mad? Like you don't even know, but like you're like intrigued by it because it's like, and he's giving it a different feel. You're just like, man, this is crazy. So, you know, rest in peace, Paradise and Power to MF Doom, man, for everything you've done for the music game. You know, so yeah, man, that hit me hard because he's cut from the cloth, and you know he inspired a lot of us, man.
I know he did. A little bit of a latecomer to Doom. You know, I've always been a fan of like jazz influenced hip hop, and one of my friends from law school knows that, and was like, "Dude, have you checked out the new the Mad Lib MF Doom Mad Villainy?" And I'm like, "I have not. I I love Mad Lib. He did great stuff with the Blue Note catalog, and you know, my buddy was like, all right, you got to check this out, and the MC is fire." And I was just like, okay, all right, I'm gonna hit that. And just listening to that album, that's still one of my all-time favorite hip hop records, is Mad Villainy. You know, when I get something that I really like that, I dig back. And so, you know, then I started digging into the catalog with Operation Doomsday and you know, Artemis and the day, you know, one of my favorites, the Nehruvian Doom album that came out in 2014. I absolutely loved that album. Bishop Nehru, really great. Just, you know, I mean, you know what you get with Doom, whether he's featuring, whether it's his stuff. His flow is impeccable. His tonality, I just, you know, his voice just agrees with your ear, you know, for whatever reason. I'm not a vocalist, so I don't always understand how that works, but like, it just feels very, very smooth. His flow is like I say, is impeccable. His lyricism and wordplay, Tia, you hit on it. I mean, just outstanding stuff. Amazing producer. Just you know, in baseball they talk about five tool players. You know, I mean, he's a hip 5-tool player. And on New Year's Eve, you know, again, 2020, it's just been so much loss. Lost Eddie Van Halen in 2020. I mean, he's pretty much the reason why I picked up a guitar in the first place. I don't play anything like Eddie Van Halen to this day, but that dude's the reason why I picked up a guitar, why I'm a musician this late in my life still. So yeah, I felt like one last punch to the Neds from 2020 to get that on New Year's Eve. Just sad, crushing. Absolutely love MF Doom, and you know, rest in peace. So let's come back on the other side and let's just start digging into these songs, man, because there's so much stuff to talk about. So we'll be right back on the other side, and we're gonna dig into, you know, some highlights of the catalog.
All right.
I'm smoother than him, man. I mean, West Suits love it. I know. He was just the story. Yeah, heavy Dio. The girls, they love me. They love me. I just know it. You're positive kid. He's dip, dab it up, but yo. Yeah, right. Yeah, LL, yo, he might keep the girls jingling, yo. I'm the man. I'm the man.
Yes, welcome back to Grande Loq. We are all doing all the time. Tonight we are paying tribute to the man. As we mentioned at the beginning, we kind of scrapped our normal format. Tonight we just decided we're going to do all Doom. Each of us, the three of us, to pick 3 songs each, 3 Doom cuts from wherever, from whatever period of his career. If it's KMD or King Ghidorah, if it's a feature, if it's from one of his albums, if it's a collaboration, whatever. Obviously doing 9 tracks, we cannot come close to the full picture of the man's genius. But I hope that this show pushes folks to go back and rediscover or discover his catalog, and so many great songs that he made or featured on. And I mean, music is about songs, and there's so many. It was tough for each of us to lock down 3. We tried to cover various parts of his career and catalog, but it's inevitably and I think purposefully incomplete. So I think we're just gonna just jump right into this. Artemis, tell us, what is your first track that you want to talk about tonight?
My first track is Gas Draws from the Doomsday album by MF Doom, which has the sample Black Cow by Steely Dan, which I didn't know. But crazy thing about this track is, for me, it came in so clear, like when I heard it. The whole album is very just so gritty and grimy, but this track just came in booming. You're like, whoa, what are these drums? What he's talking about on it? So it's wild. But
that's
anyways,
it's the oldest one.
yeah, exactly. That's the wild part too. But yo, Gas Draws, by MF Doom. Let's check it out right quick, all right? Yeah.
Metal Phase 2. Operation Doomsday.
By the way, I re-up on bad dreams, back up screams in 50s, be up on mad schemes that heat shop like Jiffy. Pop, in an instant, get smoked like Winston cigarettes. Hoes get ripped off like Nicorette. In real life, the real trife scene might snatch your life like assault machine. Rifle, dead up, set up like bullfight. Be blooded how will I couldn't white or in full flight. The unemotional, call me antisocial. On the run off the gun, Death Tally commercial. Death Valley is like rehearsal to the streets, to my peeps. GM, MF on the beat, rhymes. It's chosen like the weapons of war. So keep from stepping on my floor or delivery front door. I bring it to y'all motherfuckers, master yours, my disaster.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that song had an effect on me, because at the time when I was trying to really craft my style, I kind of didn't understand the clarity of rhyming like I thought I did, because I was trying to do too many experimental styles. And I was listening to this album and just listening to how he was just kind of attacking the beat, kind of energetic but effortlessly, and riding the rhythm. I was like, all right. I'm feeling this. And I used to play this song all the time. I actually still just pop this on randomly and bump it. So that's why this is my pick. I have a personal connection to that track, man. Straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Tia,
Yes.
what are your thoughts here?
I mean, I feel like Artemis, this song always got me. It caught me. Same deal. I didn't know until later when I was watching probably the documentary for Bobbito and Stretch Armstrong show. But this song actually was a demo that was played in a 94 episode of the Stretch Armstrong show. And so it's just interesting because the delivery on it kind of sounds KMD-ish. If you think about the feel of it, because Doom had a much more sort of hazier type of delivery. And this is so urgent, and just it's that 94 style, I think. So anyway, I love this track always. This is just some of the greatest wordplay too that you can master up.
Yeah, that's straight 90s hip hop, that drum beat. We talk about this all the time, especially when we're doing classics, oh, this is platonic ideal of 90s hip hop, like that drum beat and a Black Cow Steely Dan sample. Like that's what hit me the first time. I was like, oh shit, he's rocking some Steely Dan here. But yeah, this track is just fire. It's just fire. All right, Tia, what was your first track that you wanted to talk about?
So my first track is One Beer. I love the sort of Dorothy Parker, the take on the Dorothy Parker beginning of this. I get no kick from champagne. The alcohol doesn't throw me at all. It's very kind of Dorothy Parker, where she says that line about like, I have a drink, find me under a host, one at the less, two at the most, whatever that. It kind of feels like that to me, and that's that's just so doomed to me. Who else is quoting like Dorothy Parker, especially in that era? And so I love the fact the anagram of this album, and food, just, you know, the fact that it's got Wheat Octobre, which is a Cortex song, which has been sampled by so many people. And then, I mean, everybody, like Cole Porter is not like the greatest, you know, jazz musician, but I think it's kind of, you know, cool that that melody is that I get a kick out of you, you know, just the whole entire thing of this One Beer is, I mean, it's a song you drink to, it's a song you know, enjoy. It's great wordplay. So with no further ado, let's hear One Beer.
I get no kick from champagne. Mere alcohol doesn't thrill me at all. So tell me, why shouldn't it be true? I get a kick out of brew. There's only one beer left. Rappers screaming all in our ears like we're deaf. Tempt me, do a number on a label. Eat up all the MCs and drink them under the table like it's on me. Put it on my tab, kid, however you get there. Foot it, cab it, iron horse it. You leave it on your face, forfeit. Across the mic, hold it like the heat, he might toss it. Told her, tell him they stole it. He told her he lost it. She told him get off it and a bunch of other more shit. Getting money, DTs be getting no new leads. It's like eating watermelon. Stay spit.
Word.
Yeah. I love those backup vocals on that.
Yeah, the whole thing is just like with the drum break, I mean, some of those French sort of pop jazz artists from the 70s did such creative things. And I feel like, you know, there's very few people who can get away with sampling that. You know, everybody knows Madlib is a fan of a lot of French 70s funk. But I mean, other Doom, I mean, just he could get away with doing this and it's perfect.
Yep.
Exactly.
Artemis,
So
I was sort of
good.
shocked. I mean, just because you are for me, you are DC's, you know, beer god. Like this song has to have, you know, the drinking song. I mean, it has to have special meaning for you.
Yes, it does, but it was always a song I definitely put on. I loved it because he's rapping over the drum fill on the sample, and he's just like, he's in the pocket of the track with punches. I'm like, yo, this is ill. But it wasn't my pick because it was just too many other tracks to pick from, and there was just certain memories with certain songs. I was like, dang, maybe I should use this one, use that one. So but this one, oh my God, yeah. This was a joint I bumped a lot. I definitely bumped One Beer a lot. But I knew you were gonna say that beer thing. I'm like, yeah, see, yep. I cut back a little bit. I started adulting in my old age, and finally, so I cut back on the beer.
Yes.
So yeah.
And what about you? What about any special notes from this track?
I love this track. It's full, it's lush. The production is great. Like I was saying, the backup vocals. You guys have already pointed out the drum. I mean, that drum beat is, to my mind, it's the driver of that song. It's the highlight of that song. But I did not actually pick up on the Cole Porter at the beginning. That's a great pickup there, Tia. You are not only the sample oracle, you are like the reference oracle as well. I love it.
Really?
I love it.
Encyclopedia.
For real.
Yeah.
How do you say that? Encyclopedia.
I like that. That's funny.
Oh, great stuff. So my first song that I want to talk about is Doomsday from Operation Doomsday. Like I told you guys, I started out, somebody turned me on to Mad Villainy, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back and check out some more MF Doom stuff. And Operation Doomsday was the first one that I put on, and this was the first track that I put on, and I was like, okay, all right, I'm in the right place. I'm checking out the right material. This is where I need to be. I absolutely love this song. So let's hear Doomsday from Operation Doomsday.
Mic check. I used to cop a lot, but never cop no drop. Hold mics like ponytails tight and bobble ops. Stop, stick around, come through and dig the sound of the fly brown 60 cycle who throws a dick around. Bound to go 3 plat, came to destroy rap. It's an intricate plot of a b-boy strap. Fem stack cats get kidnapped. Then release a statement to the press, let the rest know who did that. Metal fist terrorists, claim responsibility.
So good, so good. There are just certain sounds in music. It doesn't matter what the context is, where you find it, like it just draws at like my heartstrings. Miles Davis with his muted trumpet is one of those sounds. A Fender Rhodes is that sound, and I love it. This is another one where it's just a simple 2-chord vamp basically on the Rhodes, but you can hear like the congas working back there on the drum beat. At one point, the record scratch kind of like almost holds down the 16th notes. So this is a super, again, I use it. It seems like maybe I overuse it, but it's really lush production, just really beautiful musicality on this one. And as you guys know, that's what draws me into any kind of music, hip hop or otherwise. And his flow on here is just so tight. It's just so tight. Tia, maybe you know where is that background vocal, is that a sample or?
That is actually what's so funny. This is, I've seen a couple of different interviews where Doom talks about the girl who sings that Sade part.
Mm-hmm.
And she was literally a random girl that he ran into, and like he didn't know if she sang, he didn't even know who she was on the street, and like asked her to sing Kiss of Life, except to his lyrics. And so it's like, this is the thing with Invisible Girl, is like the person who's cited on this particular song, and she literally is an invisible girl. Like she never came forward, whoever this is, right? It might have been, I don't know, just some random girl though. And I think about that all the time, that like, that is just, again, the genius. Pebbles, the invisible girl, is really a person who is like literally somebody he just made up, and somebody who didn't even sing, and just, only Doom could get away with such, wildness. And so, yeah, this song, I feel like that Sade interpolation, I feel like is just cool. And yeah, I'm always for like an interpolation where the person isn't directly sampling, but they're like playing the same, same keys,
Yeah.
or same chords. And so this is a song for me. I'm just like, that is, like you said, it gives it a lens of like still that dirtiness and kind of, deconstructed like beauty to it.
Yeah, I did not know that about the female vocal part there. That's great knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Encyclopedia. Is that a word? Encyclopedia? Is that? Ardamus, what are your thoughts on this one?
Man, I used to listen to that song. I remember that credit about the Invisible Girl, but I always was like, that's not they sing it, but that's somebody else. I used to like, it used to be in the back of my head, but I didn't pay attention to it as much because once I heard that side A sample, I was like, who cares? I'm jamming to this. And when the verse drops, I'm just like, man, I'm like playing this back and forth like next to Gas Draws and all the other joints on there, and like just like going over the verses and just like how he's like flipping on the beat. Yeah, you couldn't like for real. I'm hearing the side A sample and going back to my childhood immediately as soon as he's on the beat. I'm just like, yo,
Yeah.
you can get away with this. I was like, it's mad. It's MF Doom. I gotta not question it. I can't question it. It's MF Doom. He's getting away with it. Like
Right.
I'm just gonna let it be.
Right.
And I used to hit. That used to get me too. I'm like, he can do that? Yeah, of course he can. All right, I'll let it go.
That this song too, I feel like even though I didn't pick it, it's such a close one to me because in the song there's so many deep lines. I mean, specifically the one where he says in the chorus, "Till I'm back where my brother went." Just on this album, just the Doomsday album, and I feel like this song called Doomsday is just sort of a masked villain, right? And the whole idea of it is such like breaking the fourth wall a little bit. But in I think it's in this song where he talks about the BCDC, Baltimore County Detention Center, where Doom actually did stay. So the fact that he sort of implies that people should go and, look up under the top bunk of cell number 17, there he really was a juvenile delinquent in Baltimore County Detention Center, which is just even more interesting that, I don't know, Dumoulin was everywhere.
It really was.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Artemis, your second song, tell us about it.
All right, this song is called Deep Fried Friends by MF Doom on the Food album, which was dropped on...
Second track from Food.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this came out on Rhyme Sayers Entertainment. This is a really, really dope album. I feel like I went back to this album off and on. But this song, actually, I can't remember what volume of Special Herbs this instrumental was on. But I used to play out that instrumental. But then I would go back and listen to this song and be like, dang, yo, he's killing this joint.
Mm-hmm.
So, Deep Fried Friends, yeah, man, I used to just jam this a lot, man. Without further ado, let's get into it. Deep Fried Friends by MF Doom.
As you call them, they call you when they need something. Trees for the blunt, to G's for the front. I found a way to get peace of mind for years and left the hell alone. Turn a deaf ear to the cellular phone. Send me a letter or better, we can see each other in real life. Just so you can feel me like a steel knife. At least so you can see the white of their eyes. Bright with surprise once they finish spitting lies. Associates, is it boys or girls, bitches, niggas, homies. Close, but really don't know me. Mom, dad, comrade, peeps, brothers, sisters, duns, dunnies. Some come around when they need some money. Others make us laugh like the Sunday funnies. Fan be around whether you pay the bummy. You could either ignore this advice or take it from me. Be too nice so people take you for a dummy. So nowadays he ain't so friendly. Actually, they wouldn't even made a worthy enemy. Read the signs, no feeding the baboons. Seeing as how they got your back bleeding from the stab wounds. Y'all know the dance, they smile in your face, y'all know the glance. Try to put them on, they blow the chance.
Blow the chance. What? Come on. So, rest in peace again to Ecstasy from Houdini. That sample is mixed in there. And this is now I gotta get in my sample bag. I'm cheating a little bit because I had to be sure. I had to be sure of this. I thought I don't know why I thought this. I think because my dad had a lot of jazz records and tapes. And when we go around back in my hometown, we drive anywhere. Whenever I'm sitting in the passenger seat of my dad's car, he's playing either Chick Corea, Dave Grusin, Earl Klugh, or maybe Miles Davis, one of the two. And for some reason, I don't know why I thought this was a Dave Grusin sample. I was so off. This is actually a Ronnie Law sample. I didn't know it. It was a Ronnie Law sample. I can't remember the name of it. Hold on, let me look.
Friends and Strangers.
Friends and Strangers. Yeah, see, I thought it was slick. But yeah, Friends and Strangers. It was this is. It's crazy that this came out, that sample, that original song came out in the late 70s, because I literally thought this was something that was from the 80s jazz era, because the way it sounded, because it sounded so smooth. And I was just like, dang, Doom Flip. And I had it wrong all the whole time.
Smooth jazz.
yeah, he flipped like
Yeah.
a 80s jazz sample, but it was definitely Ronnie Laws from the 70s. And the lyrics to it, I mean, the reason why I picked this song because like everything he was talking about with like fake friends and people just doing them dirty, I was like, I feel that to a T. Like I
Yeah.
was, because like you just go through it with so many people, you just be like, man, like come on, you're supposed to be the homie, you're supposed to be the bro, but you're not. And like the whole song, because it's one continuous verse, it just like it hit me in the heart, man. I was just like, I feel you completely, bro. So yeah, Deep Fried Friends, that was my shit.
Yeah. Tia, what do you got?
Yes. I again, M Food is one of my favorite projects, and Artemis, you already mentioned this, but the fact that this song comes from like Special Herbs, I think 1 and 2. And anyway, just the fact that there's always, I don't know, I feel like there's just that idea around doom becomes like a cyclical, what do you call it? Cyclical artist where he will recycle something in a different way and other people recycle stuff that he does. And that's, just the timelessness of music. But definitely I always feel like this friendship, certainly. I mean, we all have those moments, and this is one where it's just like everybody can relate to, of whether or not, it sounds like you want to be a friend, but at the same time, you have that really, I'm scared of getting hurt kind of a thing. And yeah, and I love the fact that it's just like, really, they're going to stab us, but we still want to have those friends, so anyway, there's really very little I can even say about this one. I've always just thought this is a great, and it's also, one of those ones I feel like that defines his experience on Ram Sayers a little bit, like, this song, which is, I mean, kind of, since we've talked about them, just the fact that, like in this, the whole thing, I mean, gosh, it's just like, again, it's almost like he breaks the fourth wall a little bit. You're like, did he know this? Like, was he psychic of some sort? I don't know.
It's a hot take. I don't know.
He was just in the business. I think he was just in the business, and he knew how the business treats women. But
yeah.
No, the bass line on this song is so tight. It's so tight. I absolutely just like that moves you. This song, you guys hit it lyrically. It's beautifully constructed with just like a really simple theme. So much of hip hop from a musical and production standpoint is oftentimes just a single theme looped over and over. And you think to yourself, well, that's not going to be very exciting. But the way he kind of propels the music lyrically always makes it interesting. I mean, what can you say? The man's flow is just impeccable. Exactly. So yeah. Another great one. Good choice, Artemis.
Thank you.
As were all of these, but that's a good one. All right, Tia, give us your second cut. This is a nice.
So I feel like this is such an interesting kind of odd combination, but Ian, as a follow-up to you playing Doomsday, right? Sonny and the whole entire band, I mean, just the UK connection, and also the fact that I feel like Shawnee is that kind of iconic band again, that very similarly, like just kind of transcends so many genres, and very kind of works with Doom's like unparalleled kind of gritty lyricism, and then like you said, Sade's kind of real softness and those sort of lush vocals. It's the wine and dine with the mask on, which, I mean, are we not living that life right now? So this next song comes from Sade Villain. Sade Villain, which is a mashup of recycled lyrics from Doom, but is sort of this playful experience by a producer. It was like about 17 when he made this, name Sean 2K11. It's like they call it the smooth operation. It's like Doom's love for Sade is like legendary when you listen to Operation. So it's a smooth operation. So without further ado, again, let's listen to Gazillion Grand from Sade Villain.
You ain't got the soul if you want You're gonna have to come down here and I've got to go up to him, Ben. It's the only way to bring him out in the open.
Villain here, have him shrilling fear. I won't stop top ill until he a gazillionaire, grilling stare. Yeah, your boy had drama. Got him on the mental plane, avoided bad karma. One soul of inbred, skinhead, a nigga joke. Plus a brand new chrome smoker with the triggers broke. I thought I told him fire and pitch was separate. He find out later when he tries to go and rep it. Took a Jehovah money for an Arabic Torah. Charged in advance, translated and ignored us order. One monkey don't stop, no slaughter. A junkie want a cop a quarter ton, run for the border. Know the drill, it ain't worth the overkill, flow skill. Still, there's no thrill. Fill a billion 10K bills in this pillar. Fill it when it gets realer, split the skrilla with
Yes.
Fire.
Such a fire track. Like, I love her. First of all, Lovers Rock is such a, I think one of Sade's more just, it's a different taste
Beautiful.
from Sade than her previous works. And that sample from Flow is just awesome. And I mean, that song is sort of classic UK, but it's also got the writer of the song I found out wrote for Savage Garden. And I said, that makes complete sense. Because this song does have that, original sample does have a Savage Garden kind of feel. And of course, the original song that the lyrics came from was Gazillion Ear from the Born Like This album that was not really that mixed that well. And that was, a song produced by Dilla. And listen, a 17-year-old kid trying to compete, to be like, I'm going to make a beat that's going to sample Sade and then be just as kind of great as something Dilla did. This to me was like, I had to put it on the list.
Yeah, great cut. Absolutely great cut. Artemis, what were your thoughts here?
Man, listen to it. I was like, is this an unreleased Doom cut? But then I'm like, wait, I've heard those. I know those bars, like somewhat. I'm not perfectly wrong, but I'm like, okay, this is a dope mashup. I just like it, man. I mean, at this point, I mean, if we get more Sade, MF Doom like collab projects, I mean, it would be a damn shame if we didn't know that Sade and MF Doom didn't meet each other at some point. I hope they did. I mean, I hope they even probably talked about doing something together, like just something completely original. But like that's what comes to mind for me for this track, and just like the very just like the nice grittiness of a nice mashup. Sometimes people get mashups wrong, or not even say mashups, remixes. They get them wrong with the tempo and the pocket of the person's like vocals. And I've been there. I've done it before. But it's like with this one, this is like perfect. You almost think like, Doom was sitting with another producer or somebody else, or he made the beat and was just rapping over it himself. So yeah, I dig it. This is a good pick, Tia. Good job. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent choice. Excellent choice. I mean, listen, if you're gonna put together Sade and MF Doom, I'm here for that 24/7. All right, so let me talk about my second cut here. This is a new one, and I'm not sure this may be like the very last thing that he put out, or that was put out that he was involved in. I don't know that for sure, but it's a fairly recent song from 2020. This song is called Chocolate Conquistadors by Bad Bad Not Good, featuring MF Doom. I love Bad Bad Not Good. I think these guys are dope. Super dope. They just have that classic, we're a jazz band that we're gonna do beats and people can rap over them, or we'll just jam over them. I love Bad Bad Not Good, and this song is great. Doom's bars on this are just really, really tight. So this is Chocolate Conquistadors.
Legitimize living lies, channel the cosmos. These God flows here to civilize. Hear them footsteps, here come the Moors, Neanderthals and scores, eating wild boars. Thousands of years on tour. Organize, y'all. Wild whores, smelling like animals through the pores, on all fours. Foul cannibals hear the roars. Raw flesh, rebellious and lawless. Struck by the autocracy, all blessed. All dressed in garbs of royalty. Cars who swore to be righteous laws accordingly. Educated by the highly elevated, melanated, and mind renovated. Once they stumble across the right answer, remarkably similar to Wakanda, White Panther, herbs combat cancer, detoxing the liver, sexual enhancers, symbolisms in Hollywood, jolly good, shows us how evil will manifest, or probably could. Divine beings, mind free, conquistadores, chocolate.
Yes, love that. The one thing I will say about Doom's voice, and it was really stark, also kind of going back over this past week and re-listening to a lot of stuff, especially a lot of his early stuff and some of the KMD stuff. When you get into the stuff that he's done over like the last 5 years, like you could tell that the voice has gotten huskier, it's gotten deeper, a little more resonance to it. So I always appreciate that in a vocalist. It's usually a singer, but a lot of times you hear it in MCs too, that what their voice sounds like at 25 is different than what they're going to sound like at 45. And I like the way he matured into his voice and how that really became, I think, his calling card. Just to point out really quickly, this song is featured in the Grand Theft Auto, the Cayo Perico heist. But yeah, this is Chocolate Conquistadors, Bad Bad Not Good, featuring MF Doom. Tia, Artemis, did you guys had a chance to hear this, Tia?
Yes, I did, and I mean, I feel like you've captured the essence. I love Bad Bad Not Good too. I feel like they are some funky Canadian. Like, I just love their style.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, every remix, whether it's the Ghostface project, this one, the songs they've done with MF Doom, they've done some Wu-Tang stuff. Like, they have just everything they touch, I just love to listen to. So it was like, to me, it's a perfect, I don't know, soundtrack for it, like GTA. I feel like there's so many things that GTA has given to the canon, and I feel like this is just like,
to the culture.
This had to be on that soundtrack. So yeah, it's a great video game that has put so much forth in pop culture. And again, just kind of solidifying like that's kind of the, like, Doom can be the face of that. So I mean, pun intended, because I guess really,
Do we consider Doom like a founding father of nerdcore, or is that? I'm not super familiar. No, it's not.
I do. Oh, I consider
him
him
godfather at least. I mean,
yeah, I would say more so. I don't know if he would be considered to be the quintessential sort of nerdcore artist, but I think as a definitely like made what is a awkward sort of black nerd cool, because there really wasn't, we had Dale right last week, and I feel like just kind of very much in that same vein of like, there's a lot of black nerds who grew up, and Dale was, before there was a they had a connection with MF Doom. This is like a continuation of that to me, of like just people, may have been awkward, but at the same time lived in urban spaces and still had to make what that awkwardness cool in some way.
Yeah. Artemis, what are your thoughts here on this one?
The nerdcore question caught me because I was just like, I don't want to say yes or no, really. I think I'm with Tia. I mean, maybe he was a precursor for it, but there was no word for it, really,
Yeah, that's what I think. Like a pioneer of it.
You're right. Yeah. Like he was, it was almost like it was a newfound identity for him to like keep going forward, after his brother passing and everything, KMD, he had this idea to push forward, and it was a dope, innovative move. So I guess maybe you could probably say that he was like a precursor to that movement to a degree. But as far as this track goes, so Bad Bad Not Good, they're so dope. I feel like they're like a missing like element as far as like music goes now, because there are quite a few groups kind of like them. I want to say back out in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and like seeing them come up, and they're on their own thing though. Like they use like harder drum tracks, and their grooves are crazy. And like for them to get up with Doom like this was really dope. And it's funny, like listen to this track, it's like Doom over a dance beat, kind of a dancey beat, but then it like gets jazzy.
Yeah.
It's funny because he doesn't change up his style, but he lands on the track still and makes it like his own.
Right.
So that was a trip. It kind of reminds me of how shouts to Open My Ego when he had his TV show on Comedy Central, and Doom was on a particular track that you don't really hear him over, but he was on a song with Open My Ego for the soundtrack of that TV show, rapping over it, and he still made it his own. So that kind of it's this kind of feel too, because you don't hear Doom over these kind of fast paced tracks unless you listen to like Zev Love X, and like even then the drum beats are grittier, and they have a certain feel to them. So I dug this track a lot. I thought it was dope.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So we've each made it through 2 songs. We each have one more, and we didn't actually plan this, but as I'm looking at our show outline here, I'm seeing that our last 3 tracks are all from Mad Villainy. So Artemis, give us, what was your track from Mad Villainy that you wanted to chop
Okay,
up?
before I get into that, I will say I almost did alternate on a track. I almost picked GMO featuring Beth Gibbons on the JJ Doom album, which I really, really love. So that was like because of the whole thing with M Food, and then they just have this song called GMO. I'm like, word, that's crazy. I was gonna go with that, but I had to go with this song right here in particular, Money Folder by Mad Villain, which is of course Mad Lib and MF Doom, or MF Doom, Mad Lib, whichever way you want to say it. This song right here, I want to say I replayed often, and it was like a short song kind of to me, but it was just like so crazy and gritty when I heard it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Money Folder by Mad Villain.
Villain took on many forms.
Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. After you whose last is doom, he's the worst known. Boom, that'll have your boom blown or eat the thirst bone. Rockets won't burst, clone, just don't curse the grown. Own his own microphone, bring it everywhere he go, so he can bring it to you live in stereo. Panic, can't understand it, ban it. The underhanded ran it, planned it, and left him stranded. The best, any who profess will be remanded. Yes, sir, request permission to be candid, granted. I don't think we can handle a style so rancid. He flipped it like Madden did the old jazz standard.
Yo, when he went into that jazz breakdown in that song, I was like, what the hell? And then the beat came back in. I was like, oh, shit, this is hard. I was like, oh, this is hard. I was like, what? This is almost like Gas Draws Part 2 for me. And and one thing about it, I started noticing, I was like, I try not to take on too many influences or inspirations when I'm making music, but, it comes out sometimes. I feel like I've tried to make that beat a few times. I've tried making that beat quite a few times because it was so dope. I was like, oh man. And just like what Doom was doing on it, he had a gruffer voice, which you were talking about, Ian, earlier, with his voice like becoming more rougher. It was like with this one, you could hear it, and you can hear the energy in what he was doing. I love this song, man. This is one of them joints you just throw in the car, riding around, and you hear it bumping. It's like, oh, what's that? So I love this joint, man.
Yeah, Tia.
Yeah, it's so many, you put Mad Lib and Doom together. It's just, creative genius is such a pool of genius in one. And I feel like something we haven't really talked about a lot so far, but just the idea, the 2 of them together for me, around these sort of clandestine identities, because I first kind of came upon Madlib through, actually, I didn't realize Madlib was Quasimodo. And just the idea around sort of being able to, I always felt like he was more himself on production when he was Quasimodo. And this song for me, just the way that the sample, because it's a sample, but it's like an interpolation, and somebody who does that so well is Madlib, who can play the sample out and then to play the sample in the same track, like, and you get those two sort of contrasting kind of vibes in the song where it's just like, man, this is just and Doom's rapping, I mean, you know, just the again the idea around like comparing things to money and the value of money, and yeah, I don't know how you can just go, you know, deeper into it, but it's like they sample like the BDP South Bronx, and like, you know, he says the KRS-One holder of a boulder money folder, like the whole idea, like it, again, it's somebody, I keep calling it like this breaking of the fourth wall, but it's almost like he's got this in there for you when you're listening, because he knows that people listened to him in a very, you know, sort of very nuanced way and explored his lyricism in that way. So he feeds his fans constantly. And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's such a great point. That's such a great point. I always appreciate musicians, artists who try to throw in a reference that, you know what, maybe 95% of the people who hear that song are not going to pick it up. They're just going to be like, oh, this is cool. I'm nodding my head, I'm grooving, whatever. But that there's like that 3 to 5% of like hardcore music fans are going to be like, oh, what did he just do there? And Madlib is definitely one of those producers, and Doom is definitely one of those artists. Madlib is one of those producers, you know, in the Dilla, Pete Rock, DJ Premier pantheon for me. Like whatever he's going to do, I'm going to listen to it. You know, I don't care who he's working with, I don't care who he's collaborating with, I don't care what. It's a soundtrack. It's this, it's that. If Madlib's on it, I'm going to listen to it. I don't like everything, but I'm going to listen to it. And he's definitely, like I say, in that pantheon for me.
Yeah.
So, all right, Tia, your Mad Villainy track. Tell us about this one.
So my Mad Villainy track is all caps, which is in reference to MF Doom's particular preference for his name, which is what people might have, were when he passed so suddenly or unexpectedly, there was a lot of people who were publishing his name as MF Doom, stylized without the caps. Well, he wanted his name in all capital letters, and this is the instructional directions around when you spell the man name, just all caps. And I love the fact that, like, yes, I just, you know, for me, there's no more sort of more interesting combination of like these two producers again, you know, Metal Fingers, Doom and Madlib coming together. And like, I just imagine that they're such fans of each other. They're such, you know, just fans of hip hop and music. And then I just, you know, this song, I feel like it's just one of those ones that you just gotta be like, it's so great. You know, it's like, and it's so English. I mean, he asked you to call me, you know, Your Majesty. It is so, everything about it is just to me like he's giving you the directions on who he is and how to make sure that you get those caps right. So let's go to all caps.
So nasty that it's probably somewhat of a travesty having me. Then he told the people, you can call me Your Majesty. Keep your battery charged. You know it won't stick, yo. And it's not his fault you kick slow. Shoulda let your chick hold your sick glow. Plus nobody couldn't do nothing once he let the brick go. And you know I know that's a bunch of snow. The beat is so butter. Peep the slow cutter as he utter the calm flow. Don't talk about my mom, yo. Sometimes he rhyme quick, sometimes he rhyme slow, or vice versa. Whip up a slice of nice verse pie, hit it on the first try, villain. The worst guy, spot hot tracks like spot a pair of fat asses. Shots of the scotch from out the square shot glasses. And he won't stop till he got the masses. And show them what they know not through flows of hot molasses. Do it like the robot to head spin.
Yes. Again, I mean, just the whole entire thing. Ian, you set us off with the actual shot in a square shot glass, appropriately so. But again, this whole thing is like instructions for his aesthetic to me, right? It's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, just there's such the smoothness of this rhyme. So I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts on it.
I mean, this track. So I let Mad Villain play a lot. Like I would just like play it all the way through quite a bit. Every once in a while, I'd stick to like maybe the Money Folder song or maybe America's Most Blunted. A couple of songs here and there. I remember listening to all caps. It's like, this is so gritty, And I was thinking like, damn, this reminds me of like a 60s cartoon. And lo and behold, the video comes out and he's like in a comic book, like fighting off
Yes.
bad guys. I'm like, dang, they captured that aesthetic pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, and I never really, dang, I should have grasped that a little bit more, that these are instructions for his name to be in caps, because I've seen that off and on. I've seen people like lowercase his name. I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
that doesn't look right. And then people just be like, MF Doom in your face. You're like, oh, like it's supposed to be capitalized, and that's crazy. I thought
That's how it is.
because people say cap now all the time now, like no cap or anything. So I was just like, wait a minute, MF Doom had all caps back in the day. Like, why are they saying no cap now? Like, I didn't get that. So that was interesting. This is definitely like one of them joints I definitely put on, and like I would just like it was like a sleeper track to me for a second for some reason. I don't know why. And I liked it, but I just didn't go back to it as much. But then I went back to it. I was like, yo, this is really dope. So yeah, definitely liked it.
Yeah, it's it almost gets repetitive to just talk about how smooth and like just buttery his flow is at all times. How that voice just hits your ear. You almost take that for granted. I love the samples. It sounds like he's sampling from like a Japanese cartoon or something like that. Like, is he?
I think
we
it's
have
like
any?
a horror, not a horror movie, but like one of those old sort of, I call them the kitschy mystery movies. It's like murder
Yeah.
scene, from Ironside, which was like a show that ran in England in, I don't know, the 80s or something. Or, I'm sorry, the
Yeah.
60s. Um,
Yeah.
so there's like a lot of that. And again, to the point of that is like Madlib curating, like the digging just is crazy. And he likes a lot of those like shows. It's like From the Streets of San Francisco movies. Like he is
Yeah.
that guy, the movie, just obscure stuff that's like, but they also like these macabre kind of obscure shows, which
like Saturday afternoon matinee type
yeah.
channel 20 afternoon matinee, like right before like Blackula or something like that.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah, he's probably like dig some crates on this one, let's see what you come up with.
Right.
But yeah, just a great track on, it's one of my all-time favorite hip-hop records. So we're gonna get into my last song here. This is my favorite Doom track, and this is actually not off the album. This is a performance that I just like saw on YouTube and just fell in love with. It's the Robert Glasper Experiment, playing I think at the 2014 iTunes Festival in London. Doom joins them on stage. They do Figaro off of Mad Villainy, and then they do this number, Rhinestone Cowboy.
Oh yeah.
Just one of my all-time favorites. And so you're going to get a chance to hear it with the Robert Glasper Experiment, giving us the beat.
Sing along if y'all know the words. Hold the cold one like he hold the old gun, like he hold a microphone and stole a show for fun. Or a foe for ransom, blows his hands from O's and ten of anthem, random tantrum, phantom of the grand old opry, acts the dumb honey, mass pump shotty, somebody stop me, party come sloppy on a retarded hard copy, at the rocket party seem departed
in a jalopy. Just absolutely love that. Like I said, I just fell in love with that version. I mean, I already loved the song off Mad Villainy. It's a little different vibe on the album, but I thought I'd give you guys a little something extra on this one. Artemis, what were your thoughts on on this song in general, but maybe even that performance.
In general, I mean, Rhinestone Cowboy is fire. Of course, you know, there's nothing much to be said about it. It's a fire song. Now the live stuff, I really digged it. I really dig this. I remember hearing about him doing this live with Robert Glasper, and let me say that's a talented brother. Like I'm want to say I was thankful to see him live with Mos Def. I mean with Yasin Bey. Sorry, got to see him live before at the Kennedy Center, and he's just very talented, very smooth. I like this. I like that.
Was that New Year's Eve? Was that a New Year's Eve?
That was like a couple years ago. New Year's Eve. It was like New Year's Day. It was like New Year's. I want to say because he did a couple shows.
We were New Year's Day. That was
yeah.
My wife and I were at that show because it was a Yassier show at the Kennedy Center. She got us tickets for Christmas. We went there. It was New Year's Day, and I'm sitting there before the show, and I'm looking up there. I'm like, oh, nice keyboard setup. I'm like, that kind of looks like Glasper's keyboard setup. And then I'm like, that kind of looks like Mark Collenberg's drum setup, and that kind of looks like Derek Hodges' bass. I'm like, holy shit, Robert Glasper Experiment is gonna back him up tonight. I was like, I'm a total Glasper fanboy. Glasper fanboy. I think he's one of the most brilliant musicians that we have going right now. Just a tremendous. Tia, Rhinestone Cowboy.
This song is sort of, I don't know, it's so sad for me in some ways. I feel like it's just like, I don't know, this song, if you ever look at the video for this song, because I always thought it was such a difference from like Doom stuff, but he's in it. I mean, he talks a lot about that he was homeless in between sort of the KMD years and then when he emerged as MF Doom, and that he near homeless. And I don't, just to me, this song is sort of like, it feels so like living in exile. It feels so like, sort of living in this Doom's land that is just can only be, by himself. And so I don't know, something about the sample and the fill and the fact that you played the Glasper version, it feels even more with the like the keys on it. It just such a rich sort of, I don't know, just song. But it's to me like also that there's such like inimitable wordplay that Doom has, where it's like you step out of time and space on a lot of his lyrics, and this song for me is just like, man, it makes me sad all over again, right? It's like a celebration, but at the same time I'm just like, man, this is really such a pretty song, and at the same time such a deep one.
So well said. His rhyme play, his wordplay on the song, tremendous. The flow is amazing, and I mean, this is just one of those songs that you realize the level of artistry that we just lost, and it's just a gorgeous song, gorgeous song.
And getting to see him live.
So,
and you both got to see him live.
Getting to see him live too is that was what I was trying to say.
No,
like
I did not.
Yeah, seeing him live is like, I want to say like that's one thing that brings to mind with this song, because when I got to see him live finally, I want to say at GW, I was like intrigued, and this is before all these other projects came out. So your pick for this kind of just like brought that back to my mind. Like, damn, I got to see him live, and I'm never gonna see him live again. Yeah. I won't even see a Doombot live probably again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, there will be plenty of Doombots live.
I hope so. I'm for the Doombots.
I'm sure, right? There's got to be, but that's an experience. Artemis, is just like there's so many people who have gone to see Doom and, like you said, got Doombotted while they were thinking they were seeing the original, and it was Hannibal Buress or whatever other person was in the mask at that time.
I could be a Doombot.
I always like, I don't know, for me, like Matt Villain one of those ones where it's just like it's such an interesting one. But I know that he also cited like Rhinestone as one, other than Figaro's, like his favorites off the album, which is like of all these great tracks. I don't know that he had some special connection to those two, which made me also kind of be like, this is one of the few that has like a video that's like him in it. You know, the rest are, you know, cartoons or whatever, and then it's like this is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just makes me even more sad.
I know.
That like, and then you think about the fact that his son was born in 2003 when this, you know, he would have been like a year old when this album came out. And yeah, just the whole thing, this full circle is like, oh, could you be any like, this is a perfect way to end this, Ian. You had a good track to end this on.
Yes, indeed.
You know, listen, obviously, we've been talking for almost an hour just on the songs, and we went through 9 songs. I mean, he has a vast catalog. If you're listening to this, if you're rediscovering Doom, discovering Doom, or like you're deep in, but you know, maybe you haven't heard this album in a while, or you think you're too cool to listen to Mad Villainy again for the 1000th time, and you got to be like, no, I'm listening to this like underground stuff. Like, just get back into it, dig back into the catalog. You will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. The man was a genius, and he left us a legacy, and we should celebrate that. We are trying to celebrate that. We're trying not to dwell on his passing as much as celebrate the art that he left for us, because it's a lot of brilliant music. I mean, the guy it was just hits after hits after hits. I mean, there's not a lot of stale tracks there. It's all fire. It's all fire. So all right, we're going to take one last break. We're going to come back. We're going to have some final thoughts, and maybe send you down some rabbit holes of stuff that you can check out. So when we come back, we'll talk more MF Doom.
What a nigga know. Yo, a nigga know the game. What a nigga in black. Acts like a flick slick. What a nigga click V. The core CM crew. What a nigga do. Let the monkey out. The zoo is on my back now. Repeat, I'm the X. A biggie, not a biggin'. Past that 40 man. I'm tempted to swig. Save shit for after the gig. You dig?
Yeah. So this has been a really special episode of Grande Loq. I thank you all for sticking with us through, you know, like an hour-long segment breaking down some of our favorite Doom cuts. And, you know, like I said, we spent an hour breaking down songs, and, you know, just by necessity, it's surface level. So we wanted to kind of, each of us maybe give you something to go out and look for in his catalog, where you can kind of either rediscover or just kind of deepen your Doom knowledge. So Artemis, where would you direct an aspiring Doomophile?
Where would I direct them? I mean, of course, check out what he's done on Stone's Throw with Mad Villain. Check out wherever you can pick up food. I just want to say that too, you know, I know a lot of people are going to be like purchasing copies of his records. People who are upselling them, upcharging them, of course. I just want to say this, man. I hope that, you know, if y'all are definitely buying MF Doom's albums and everything, or if you're selling them, you know, do something for that family, contribute to their estate, you know, because like that man had a family too, you know, and he worked hard to take care of them. And, you know, with artists like that, you know, I mean, you never fully know their situation, you know, while they're gone. So I'd say for like, you know, those of y'all who want to go down a rabbit hole, you want to buy and support his records, I say please do so. Also, if you're into MCing, and you want to practice over some beats, get those special herbs, like those volumes of them, because you're gonna hear them on those beats on other projects, like Master Ace's Son of Yvonne. He rapped over like Doom beats that already been released. You might hear like maybe like a song with Vastair and MF Doom where That was that one beat they rapped over together. It was already released. You're going to hear a lot of those, and I feel like that's a good. Those are good precursors to start with. And definitely, if you don't start with KMD, you don't know, you won't know the beginnings of like MF Doom. And when you play bumps of Peach Fuzz and what no, you know what I'm saying? We played those joints to like give like pay homage to the backstory of MF Doom, aka Zev Love X, So yeah. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah. Zed Love X. Also, if you see anything King Ghidorah, Victor Vaughn, any of that stuff, that's Doom. Pick that up and check it out. What I would suggest, if you really want to get down a rabbit hole, I love this album. It came out in 2019. Neruvian Doom, which is a collaboration between Bishop Nehru and Doom. So many great songs on that album. Caskets is one of my favorites. So Alone, Mean the Most. Great cuts on that. That's like if you like Mad Villain, if you like Operation Doomsday, I feel like this is kind of like an upgraded, more mature version, but still comes with a lot of heat. So that would be my recommendation for kind of maybe an off the beaten path selection for to kind of deepen your Doom knowledge. Nehruvian Doom, one word, NEHRUVIANDOOM, all caps. Tia, where would you direct our aspiring Doomophile?
Definitely, I think you have sent everybody, both of you have picked great releases, just adding to a different dimension. Doom also, talk about had incredible collaborations and made great collaboration albums. So I would send you down the rabbit hole of The Mouse and the Mask, where Doom teamed up with producer, DJ, and just another esoteric kind of awkward artist, Danger Mouse, and the fact that and Czarface and Metal Face, Czarface meets Metal Fingers. Czarface meets Metal Face, right? Yeah. I'd also send you down that path as well, just for people that love to have Nehruvian Doom is one of my favorites, because I feel like that is just again another Bishop Nehru and General Janelle, just those songs are great, but I feel like there's so many great collaborations and you get something different, which is the great thing with every collaboration, because it's Doom and then inspired and brought to life too with other artists and their aspect. And then I'm going to say, just as a aside too, again, please definitely go back and dig into the KMD catalog, because I know that is just, it's where he started, and you'll hear the beginnings of all these flashes of brilliance were already there, that there really wasn't, a lot, that Doom didn't come back and do something completely different. His voice had changed, his flow got a lot more sort of stream of consciousness style, but really the skills were always there. So please go back and give, you can say Mr. Hood, you can say Black Bastards now has already been re-released, I've already heard. So you can, not under Elektra, but there's so many things that that people are putting back now to get money to the family. So there will be a lot more of these releases. I'm sure Stone's Throw is going to do a box set. They have done several. Just buy something and put that money back into his family's pocket.
Yeah. I third that idea, that notion, for sure. The Doom heads would have had our heads on a spike if we didn't mention KMD. And you're so right. You kind of see the genesis of what he became. So I think, just to wrap up, just an enormous loss, super sad. enormous loss for hip hop. Somebody who really, look, I didn't grow up with hip hop the way you guys grew up with hip hop. I came to it late. I came to it in college, and Doom was definitely one of the discoveries that helped me think, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm on the right path musically. I can get with this. I'm and just fell in love with it. I love that style. As anybody who has watched the show knows, my preference is always for very musical hip hop, and so production quality and musicality, and certainly the rhythm and the flow of the vocalist always has something to do with that. But just an enormous loss for hip hop, an enormous loss for music. Definitely hit all of us, I think, really, really hard, but still a great, a great legacy that he's left behind. So anyway, this was Grande Loq, the Grandiloquent Hip Hop Show. I loved this episode. I wish we hadn't had to have this episode, but I loved sharing all of this with you too. And we certainly hope you enjoyed this special episode. What do you want to say, Tia?
No, just shortening words. I mean, you've put it into a cap. I would just say it's the person that made us all want to recognize how easy it is to root for the villain. You think about, like, in this time, it's sort of like, it's not just a cult hero, but it is like, I saw somebody published, I think it was Tom York from Radiohead said that, Dilla was the avatar of, like, authenticity for hip hop. Like, he was just who he was in all things, and yet you think about this masked person who could still be this indelible kind of legacy on hip hop, and didn't even show his face in latter years, and was just aversive and stuff. So just the fact that, like, yeah, please, I encourage everybody to just, if there's any artist or anyone that you could take, when Tom York says it's his favorite MC, like, it is it. The word is stamped. There's, right. Hopefully people will go and follow all of these rabbit holes.
I hope so. So again, we pass along our condolences to Doom's family and friends, and I hope that this this brief examination of some of his tracks motivates folks to get out there and dig into his catalog. So if you've made it through to the end of this show, we would be honored if you would rate, review, subscribe, share, tell people about us. We are a District Dog Face production. We're produced by the great Marcus Donovan, the Pasteurized Chef. Check out his show, The District of Misfits Show, every other Sunday. We're there Saturday this week, but they always go live, and it's a fun, loose time. So we thank you for letting us into your brain. Give a shout out, Stacey Abrams, and peace.
Peace.
Yo, fuck that. Who the fuck is you, niggas? Master, representing. This shit for the CMR. Buses. Some loves to rock the venue, then see you never be you. In fact, glad I never been you. Scratched off the menu, I continue with the yellow. So props might develop from the tools, no proof to head swallow. I dwell uptown, it's like a jungle. I'm immune to the fever though. Whoops your daisy, never lazy, so I heave ho. Whipping shit like Evo, whip it good, bang bang. Whipping shit like Elmer Fun and Mr. Fun slang. Listen to my guitar twang as I sang along. Home with my soul's horn going. Going up like a grenade, serenade. I'm into wind bit. Locked on the mic like vice grips to the swing 7 feet seat folk when I used to pop a willy. You can get the prize if you can top my illy silly weird old pro rap style. Ran see a clap while all the finger slap child. Rest give me that. Now my nail file thanks. I'll bake it. I'ma send it upstate when my niggas make the break. See, I take none slack. Rhymes and track is back. Self-love X slack. I'm brown man, not a black bass. I'm stringing them up higher than the 86 Nikes on the wire. I don't suggest taste test if you can't digest. And I quote, several tests, goddamn, God bless. I wrote, I told discs, cats and bats. I vote no to canine, feline rats, double tracks. I always hear them say, foiled again by that maniacal madman. He raps like Saran Rat can, a leg of lamb. Shit's random. Yeah, X makes hits like slapped up, all cracked up, so constantly acting.
I poured myself a little Hennessy Pure White.
Lush.
Love it. Love it. This one's for Doom. Very nice.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Just replying to a message.
It's cool.
All right. Okay. I'm ready.
Is this a booty call? Are we on booty call time with you or something?
Get out of my business, man. Get Grande locked out on this motherfucker. Stop playing with me, damn it.